I'm going to start this video by making a very bold statement. I think there's a good chance that the feminist and men's rights activist groups are doing more harm than good. And I'd go so far as to say that they're worsening gender relationships way more than they're helping. Being a man who believes strongly in gender equality, I first put my attention into the men's rights message boards and Facebook groups, where I was confronted with an overwhelming amount of anti-feminist propaganda. The insidious kind that has a nugget of truth but is twisted almost beyond recognition to serve an agenda. If I would pipe up with a viewpoint that perhaps the reality is more complex than the simple narrative that feminism equals evil, then I was quickly called a dickless woman apologizer who needs to suck up to women in an attempt to get laid. Next, I switched over and spent some time in feminist forums and Facebook groups, hoping that maybe the answer lay there. After all, I had some really amazing female friends who strongly identified as feminists, and we had always had great conversations about the rights of both men and women. Sadly, that experience was just as bad. Articles would be chopped out of the news and twisted beyond recognition, until the content neatly fit the patriarchy equals evil mindset. And the moment I tried to bring balance to the discussion, I was called a bigoted, woman-bashing rapist who is probably also a white supremacist. What? Anyway, this is exactly where the problem lies. There is no way that I could proudly call myself either a men's rights activist or a feminist. Because when you get inside these movements, there's just an overwhelmingly high degree of negative sentiment towards the opposite gender, as much as both sides actively work to dissuade us of that notion. Fortunately for humanity and my own sanity, I strongly believe two important things. Firstly, that both men and women are unfairly treated in different ways by our society, and that both feminists and men's rights activists raise incredibly valid gender issues. Secondly, that the very vocal and exceedingly negative voice so common in men's rights activism and feminist circles are far from the majority. They are simply a very loud minority ruining it for everyone else. Feminism and men's rights are appealing magnets for men and women who have been very hurt psychologically by the opposite gender. More often than not, a lot of these people haven't dealt with that pain in a healthy way. For example, when I left my first relationship when I was 19, I was so mad at how badly I'd been treated that I spent years being mad at women when I should have been looking inwards and working on myself. Instead, I just played the victim and sadly hurt a few women along the way by being a self-absorbed player. Lots of men and women have been through periods like this, being angry at the opposite gender as a whole for the pain they've suffered because of a few negative people in their lives. And it's people like this who become super vocal, super confrontational, and ruin the concept of gender equality for everyone else. As a dating coach, it appears to me as though men's rights and women's rights are in an escalating battle that is playing out like a bad relationship. Imagine I come home from a long day at work and my wife says to me, "Damien, you said you were going to clean up the junk in the driveway 2 days ago. I'm really frustrated with you right now." Defensively, I invalidate her feelings as though they don't matter by saying, "You have no right to be frustrated. I've been slaving my ass off all week so that we could even afford that driveway in the first place." And she replies by invalidating my feelings in return. "I don't give a damn that you've been working. You said you'd clean it up and I want it cleaned up." It's the common way that so many fights get started in relationships. One party raises an emotion and the other party invalidates it. Then both sides feel angry and not listened to or cared about, and a fight ensues. Many couples break up because they can't see their way out of this kind of dynamic. Instead of taking the time to hear the other person's concerns, we just get defensive and invest energy in validating the other person's needs. The exact same thing comes up between men and women discussing gender issues. A woman says to a man, "It's so frustrating that women get paid 75 cents to every dollar men earn." And the man responds with, "Oh, boo-hoo, 90% of workplace deaths are men, because we have all the most dangerous jobs." Or a man says, "It's not fair that so often men get the raw deal in family court." And the woman says, "Oh please, you men have subjugated women for so long, you don't deserve to complain now." And just like this, communication breaks down. To me, this is stupid and unproductive. If both parties keep invalidating the other side's needs and concerns, then we'll never reach a fair consensus. So what's the solution? I see two possible solutions. Number one, the parties have to become responsible for their ailing reputations by becoming membership groups. So for example, men who claim to be MRA but talk about women deserving to be raped, or women who talk about male babies deserving to be killed. Yes, I've heard both arguments before, will have their party membership revoked. In this way, official members of either party would be vetted to fairly represent the true intentions of each party. And so the extremist ramblings which do so much damage could be cast aside. Or the second option, and this is my favourite option, the parties should drop the concept of one-sidedness and merge to become a singular gender rights activist group representing the basic rights of all genders. I know this is controversial, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think nothing's wrong with feminism and men's rights groups? Do you see another solution? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you for my next video. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Hey guys, do you get frustrated approaching women and then getting rejected? I'd like to invite you to my free 12-video training series where I'm going to show you how to make such an amazing first impression before you even say a word that rejection will soon become a thing of the past. See that button down there? Don't procrastinate anymore. Go ahead and click on it, and I look forward to working with you.